Marco Rubio, as promised. Let's hear what he had to say before we get to Hegseth shredding reporters.
So look, the United States conducted this operation with a very clear goal in mind. I haven't got a chance to see a lot of reporting. I don't understand what the confusion is.
He's so right. He's so right. I open every single piece of media, because I do a ton of research for these videos. You know, I end up reading a metric fuck ton of shit before I actually put a video together here. I'm doing my absolute best. And what's absolutely shocking to me is how the media is straight up working for Islamic terrorists. I don't even know what to say. They're out there, they're pushing shit, war bad, war illegal, war is terrible, Khomeini did nothing wrong, you know, like the New York Times wrote a whole obituary, I covered this in my previous video, how Khomeini was a sweet looking old man with a bushy beard. Unironically, that's what they said about him. He was strong and he managed to shape the region. Dog, they wouldn't give Trump an obituary that nice after he dies. You know, God help him. May he live to be very old. And Khomeini not only legalized child marriage at the age of 9, but said that you have to rape female prisoners before executing them so they don't go to heaven as a virgin. I'm not even kidding. Like, we're dealing with a whole ass other level of evil here. And we have the entire Democrat media literally glazing the guy. Making believe this is a complicated war. We don't understand why we're doing this. We understand. Well, of course we understand. They've been trying to kill us for 47 years, and they're actually really close to actually posing a threat. So we're neutralizing the threat before they kill us. This is the most obvious thing in the universe. But the media is making believe it's so confusing, and we don't understand why this is happening. Like, this narrative is insane, and I'm happy Rubio's calling it out.
Let me explain it to you, and I'll do it once again as clearly as possible. Perhaps you'll report it that way. The United States is conducting an operation to eliminate the threat of Iran's short-range ballistic missiles and the threat posed by their Navy, particularly to naval assets. That is what it is focused on doing right now, and it's doing quite successfully. I'll leave it to the Pentagon and the Department of War to discuss the tactics behind that and the progress that's being made. That is the clear objective of this mission. The second question that's been asked is, why now? Well, there's two reasons why now. The first is it was abundantly clear that if Iran came under attack by anyone, the United States or Israel or anyone, they were going to respond and respond against the United States. The orders...
I mean, that was proven correct. We literally are watching in real time Iran lash out. They struck Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Riyadh. All right, they're hitting every country around them. Kuwait, Bahrain. So yeah, obviously, if Iran would ever get under a little pressure, of course they would bomb our bases. They quite literally chant death to America in the streets. They call America the Great Satan. Okay, like obviously he is correct here.
Had been delegated down to the field commanders. It was automatic, and in fact it bared to be true, because in fact within an hour of the initial attack on the leadership compound, the missile forces in the south and in the north, for that matter, had already been activated to launch. In fact, those had already been pre-positioned. The third is...
It's honestly true. For all we know, they would have struck within hours. For all we know. I'm so happy this was a preemptive strike. Like, watching the media tear itself to shreds, essentially wishing that we would have taken casualties before we went to war has got to be the dumbest position I've ever seen in my entire life. This is a regime, we know they're trying to kill us. We know they want to kill us. We know they're developing weapons that they want to use to kill us. Why should we wait until they kill us to respond? Like, I don't understand this concept at all. Again, biblical. Before they kill you, you kill them. Yes, correct.
The assessment that was made that if we stood and waited for that attack to come first before we hit them, we would suffer much higher casualties.
True, obviously.
And so the president made...
And also, we probably wouldn't have been able to take out the entire leadership in one shot. All right, there was an element of surprise to this as well. All right? Like, the surprise was we took out their entire leadership in one shot. Now all their entire military is scatterbrained. Every commander basically doesn't have a higher up to take orders from, so everyone's operating themselves. They're firing missiles aimlessly. We managed to shred them completely. Everyone was saying like, even Tucker Carlson has been saying, we're going to lose thousands of men after 10 years of conflict. You know, thank God that didn't happen, and I pray to God it doesn't happen. But it really doesn't look like that's going to happen.
The very wise decision. We knew that there was going to be an Israeli action. We knew that that would precipitate an attack against American forces, and we knew that if we didn't preemptively go after them before they launched those attacks, we would suffer higher casualties and perhaps even higher those killed. And then we would all be here.
Correct. Look, And I see a lot of people are trying to take this clip out of context to make it sound like Israel forced our hand and stuff. I saw people misinterpreting that as well. There is no way to interpret that. Israel is existentially threatened by Iran. Iran attacked Israel multiple times. Next time Israel attacks Iran, inevitably they will, because death to Israel, death to America is literally the chanting of Iran. Israel is the little Satan, America is the great Satan, according to these guys. All right? It would have inevitably happened that Israel would strike Iran at some point. Inevitably. That's gonna happen. Why? Because Iran was planning on striking Israel. Iran already struck Israel. Iran's proxy struck Israel. So Israel's gonna strike Iran, and Iran is gonna fire their ballistic missiles at us. So yes, it's inevitable that we needed to obliterate them before they took casualties, like on our side, obviously. Again, this doesn't mean, it's crazy watching people try to run around and interpret this like in a million possible ways when it's so obvious. We're literally killing them before they kill us. Duh.
Here answering questions about why we knew that and didn't act. Going back to the purpose. The purpose of this is to destroy that missile capability. Why does Iran want that ballistic missile capability? What they are trying to do, and have been trying to do for a very long time, is build a conventional weapons capability as a shield where they can hide behind. Meaning, there would come a point where they have so many conventional missiles, so many drones, and it can inflict so much damage that no one can do anything about their nuclear program. That is what they were trying to do, is put themselves in a place of immunity where the damage they could inflict on the region would be so high that no one can do anything about their nuclear program or their nuclear ambitions. They are producing, by some estimates, over 100 of these missiles a month.
Damn.
Compare that to the 6 or 7 interceptors that can be built a month.
Holy shit. Yeah, intercepting a lot of people probably aren't aware of this, but intercepting a missile is infinitely harder than actually launching a missile. Right? Any retarded Houthi pirate can launch a rocket. Right? But intercepting it takes so much more technology. So yeah, if they're building 100 missiles a month and we're able to build 6 or 7 interceptors a month, inevitably we would be overwhelmed. And why wait? Why wait to the point where it's actually going to be a battle where we take mass casualties? Why not just eliminate the threat first? It's so obvious. It's so obvious. That's why I'm so frustrated, I think, by the media and by the leftoids, by people like Cenk Uygur actually getting people like, holy shit, Cenk is so right about this. No, Cenk's not right about this. Cenk is a inbred, 80 IQ, terrorist glazing retard. All right, he's not right about this. All right, it's unbelievable watching people trying to figure out what this is all about. Like, dude, this is an existential threat that we're removing before it actually threatens us. Cause duh.
They can build 100 of these a month, not to mention the thousands of one-way attack drones that they also have. They've been doing this for a very long time, and by the way, they've been doing it under sanction. You see the attacks they're conducting.
And they've been lying. Oh, just make a deal with them. Let's just do diplomacy. That's what Keir Starmer says. That's what Sanchez, the communist leader of Spain, has to say. Let's just do it diplomacy. You can't diplomatically reason with goat-fucking, pedophile, terrorist, retard, dictators that have already proven themselves as liars. Why do we do? Like, dude, this is, again, I always come back to that one quote from the Freerin anime. Like, dude, aged like fine wine.
Demons use words to trick humans.
That's it. That's as simple as it is. That's what words are to these guys. They're just tricks. They're just their little bag of tricks.
Right now, they're attacking airports. They're attacking hotels.
Yes.
They're hitting.
Where's the media? Where's the humanitarian retards? Where's everyone screaming that Iran is doing war crimes right now? Oh, America violated international law. These guys are violating international law daily.
Not just military bases, they're attacking our embassies directly. They're attacking facilities that have nothing to do with war or with military. And that's a weakened Iran. That's in Iran despite years of sanction.
Yeah.
Imagine a year from now or a year and a half from now
so
the capabilities they would have to inflict
Objectively.
damage on us. It's an unacceptable risk, especially in the hands of a regime that's run by radical clerics.
Yeah.
The Ayatollah is a
Like,
radical...
dude, people think that we could negotiate with these people because at least we share similar values, at least. We don't. It's inbuilt in their radical Islamic fundamentalist religion that A, you kill everyone that's not a Muslim, all right? You know, if they're a non-believer, you smite them at the neck. That's literally what it says in the Quran. That's one. Two, they can use taqiyya, which is a lie, all right? Their religion tells them to lie to non-Muslims in order to further their aims and goals. Like, you cannot reason with people that think that, oh yeah, we should be raping women before executing them so they don't go to heaven as virgins. Dog, we're not in the same playing field, dude.
Was a
Well,
radical...
just negotiate. You retards. You are retards. You are letting these people into your countries, and you are thinking that, oh, they're just like us. We each have the same ideologies. They're going to just assimilate in five minutes.
cleric. That entire regime is led by radical clerics who don't make geopolitical decisions. They make decisions on the basis of theology, their view of theology, which is an apocalyptic one. That has to be taken very seriously.
Quite literally. They're willing to die if it includes killing us. Like, with North Korea, at least we have this idea of mutually assured destruction. If North Korea nukes us, we'll nuke them back, and they'll all be fucking dead. They obviously don't want that, therefore they're not going to nuke us. Iran doesn't share that ideology. Mutually assured destruction doesn't apply to people that think that they're in a death cult where they're more than happy to die to further their aims of killing us. Like, you even see now, retards like Sneeko being like, he was martyred, he's going to heaven. Dog, he was a rapist, pedophile, mass murdering terrorist, okay? Like, we cannot operate and tolerate even a conversation about this.
Well, so that was the purpose for what this operation is all about. That's what it's focused on. As the President said earlier today, it is on or ahead of schedule. I will defer to the Department of War to discuss the progress being made at a tactical level, but it was the right decision and an important decision for the safety and security of the world.
It's wild watching the media misconstrue such an obvious and true statement. Oh, but they don't want to be racist. No. Obviously, the radical Islamic regime is just like us. We're literally exactly the same.
Does Congress have to weigh in? Does Congress have to weigh in? Is the president declaring war, and does Congress have to weigh in? And was there an imminent threat? Did you tell lawmakers that?
Bro, shut up.
There absolutely was an imminent threat, and the imminent threat was that we knew that if Iran was attacked, and we believed they would be attacked, that they would immediately come after us. And we were not going to sit there and absorb a blow before we responded, because the Department of War assessed that if we did that, if we waited for them to hit us first after they were attacked, and by someone else, Israel attacked them, they hit us first, and we waited for them to hit us, we would suffer more casualties and more deaths.
That's right.
We went proactively
so you go in first.
in a defensive way to prevent them from inflicting higher damage. Had we not done so, there would have been hearings on Capitol Hill about how we knew that this was going to happen, and we didn't act preemptively to prevent more casualties and more loss of life.
The media is literally saying, well, we should wait until a 9/11 before we respond. Like, you have to understand what we're dealing with. We're literally dealing with a media that's more than happy to say, you should have waited until 9/11 happened to respond. You shouldn't have tried to stop 9/11 first.
Was forced to strike because of an impending Israeli action?
No, let me two things I would say. Number one is, no matter what, ultimately this operation needed to happen.
Again, I've said that too. It's inevitable. We might as well do it when we're the strongest and they're the weakest.
It's a question of why now. But this operation needed to happen because Iran in about a year or a year and a half would cross the line of immunity, meaning they would have so many short-range missiles, so many drones, that no one could do anything about it because they could hold the whole world hostage. Look at the damage they're doing now. And this is a weakened Iran.
Yeah.
Imagine a year from now. So that had to happen. Obviously, we were aware of Israeli intentions and understood what that would mean for us, and we had to be prepared to act as a result of it. But this had to happen no matter what.
Remember, first of all, Iran declared war on us. All right, a lot of people don't like to acknowledge this. Iran openly declared war on us, threatened our president, attempted to assassinate him multiple times. All right, openly declared war on Israel. Like, dude, this was gonna happen. Let's do it at a time where we don't take as many casualties as we possibly can.
President Trump said overnight that his top choices to now run Iran were killed in the strikes. Does the United States have a firm plan for how they intend to handle this power vacuum in Iran to ensure that an Iron hardliner does not take power?
So two things, and two things can be true. Number one is our mission and our focus is the destruction of their ballistic missile capabilities and their ability to manufacture them,
America
as well
first,
as the threat
baby.
posed by their Navy to global shipping. That's the objective. That said, we would not mind, we would not be heartbroken, and we hope that the Iranian people can overthrow this government and establish a new future for that country. We would love for that to be possible. But the objective of this mission is the destruction of their ballistic missile capabilities and of their naval capabilities.
So are you saying, based on that, are you saying that there is no responsibility, no plan for the U.S. to at least play a role in whatever government comes next?
We might. We'll see how circumstances play out. But I'm telling you what the objectives of this operation are.
This is crazy, dude.
The objectives of this
these questions are insane.
operation are to destroy their ballistic missile capability and make sure they can't rebuild it, and make sure that they can't hide behind that to have a nuclear program. That's the objective of the mission. That said, abundantly clear. We would love for there to be an Iran that's not governed by radical Shia clerics. As I've said myself repeatedly for years, the leadership of that country does not reflect the people of Iran, and I think that's been pretty apparent in the protests that you've seen. If there's something we can do to help them down the road, we'd obviously be open to it, but that's not the objective. The objective of this mission is the destruction of their ballistic missile capability.
Regime change has not gone well for the
Makes
United
sense.
States.
The what now?
Regime change has not gone well for the United States for many, many
Oh my god, dude. They literally recycle, like, the gayest talking points of all time.
decades. How do you assure the American public that things will not...
Dude, regime change in Iraq involved thousands of troops on the ground installing our own puppet democracy with Iraqis that quite literally, and I'm not trying to be rude here, their average IQ is 80. All right, the average IQ in Iraq is 80. The average IQ in Iran is 100. They're different freaking people. They're completely different. Why should we even make, like, not only is our operation different, we're doing this swiftly. Hopefully it'll take less than a month. We'll go in, we'll go out. We'll obliterate the retards that are trying to kill us. We're not trying to sit there and install our own puppets and shit like that. So it's unbelievable. It's like, do the reporters just assume that the average American is just completely retarded and therefore is just going to hear regime change and think all regime change is created equal? Like, it's totally different. It's totally different. The Iranians hate their current dictatorship. They're more than happy to install their own government. They are totally different and much more capable than people in Iraq. Okay? And also, we're not involved in the same way. It's actually mind-blowing.
Get worse for the next regime that comes in there and replaces the...
Well, we would love to see this regime be replaced. And ultimately, as the president has said, he calls... No, but let me finish.
Dude, shut up. Let the man answer.
As the president has said, he would love for the people of Iran to use this as an opportunity to rise up and remove these leaders. They've been wanting to remove them from a long time. We've seen successive waves of protests, and we've seen them slaughter people, okay? But the objective of this mission is to make sure they don't have these weapons that can threaten us and our allies in the region.
This is America First War. This isn't, we're going to install a new puppet government in Libya and see how that works out, all right? We're not doing that shit, all right? This is America First. They are a threat to us. Obviously, this is objectively good for the world. But it's also, and fundamentally, America first. We don't want them to fucking kill us.
We're doing what we're doing now. And while we would love to see a new regime, the bottom line is no matter who governs that country a year from now, they're not going to have these ballistic missiles and they're not going to have these drones to threaten us. That's the objective.
That's right. Even if, God forbid, there's another terrible, radical Shia regime, they won't be a threat. At least not for years.
This mission is to deny them the ability to use ballistic missiles to threaten their neighbors, to threaten our bases, to threaten our presence in the region, and ultimately as a shield behind which they can do whatever they want with their nuclear weapons ambition. We were not going to let them hide behind that, and that's why this was such a critical mission to undertake now while they were at their weakest point, and not a year from now where they could inflict even more damage and perhaps already be behind that point of immunity. Right here behind. Go ahead, you and then you. Yes.
Your critics in Congress have said that they should have a role. They should be able to weigh in here.
Yes. Let's get Ilhan Omar, who's leaking our plans, involved. Let's get her involved.
And there are going to be war powers resolutions votes in Congress later this week. Why not notify Congress ahead of this and just... Because they leak shit to the enemy. Because quite literally our enemy is already within. All right. That's why I'm so tired of like the whole rigmarole of look, man. We're living in a country that has been exploited, okay? Our goodwill, our generosity has been absolutely exploited by the worst people, right? We've let in hundreds of thousands of people that should not be in this country, millions that should not be here, and hundreds of thousands that directly hate our country and want to harm us. They have created voting blocks to install their own retards that are in our government. People like Rashida Tlaib, who says, fuck ICE. Fuck ICE? Fuck you. What do you mean, fuck ICE? We're literally having foreigners coming into power to destroy our immigration enforcement? Like, it's so hypocritical, it's insane. And the fact that we have enemies within is a major issue, and we need to deal with that.
Well, we did. We notified Congress. I mean, we notified the Gang of Eight. We notified congressional leadership. There's no law that requires us to do that. The law says we have to notify them 48 hours after beginning hostilities. We've done that. I think the notification went today. But we did notify members of Congress in advance. But we can't notify 535 members of Congress.
Vote to authorize the law.
Well, Congress can vote on whatever they want, but there's no law that requires us to do that. And I want to say something because I see people on TV. Look, that's fine. If they want to take a war powers vote, they can do that. They've done that. They've done that a bunch of times. But there's no, people keep saying that there's no law that requires the president to have done anything with regards to this. To begin with, no presidential administration has ever accepted the War Powers Act as
a lot of people don't know this. Obama dropped 26,000 quote-unquote illegal drones in the Middle East, all right? So that dude's been bombing shit forever. But for some reason, Trump has different rules. We know that.
Constitutional. Not Republican presidents, not Democratic presidents. That said, we have followed the notification at 48 hours. We're here today. I've done more Gang of Eight briefings than I got in the 4 years that Biden was president and I was a member of the Gang of Eight. All of that said, we've complied with the law 100%, and we're going to continue to comply with it. We've done the notification, you know, and we officially to Congress, but we did notify members of Congress. We just can't notify 535 people. That's not possible, but we did the Gang of Eight. Twice. I briefed them last week, and then I called them the night before the operation.
Can you tell us what you know, Mr. Secretary, of the administration knows about the strike on a building in southern Iran that the Iranians are saying was a school, reports of large civilians, including children killed?
Yeah, I've seen those reports. I don't have, I would refer you, not because I'm not trying to answer your question, but I don't want to get it wrong. The Department of War would be investigating that if that was our strike. And I would refer your question to them, and I'll make sure they're aware that you have that question.
It's almost certainly not our strike.
But we'd like to know.
An American missile.
Well, clearly, the United States would not deliberately target a school. Our objectives are missiles, both the ability to manufacture them and the ability to launch them, and the one-way attract drones. That would be our focus, and that's what we would be focused on. We would have no interest and, frankly, no incentive to target civilian infrastructure.
He is right.
The Iranians are, on the other hand, targeting civilian infrastructure. You guys have seen it. I'm sure you've seen it. They're hitting hotels.
Of course, the media doesn't care.
They're hitting embassies. They're hitting airports. They're hitting oil infrastructure. Well, it'd be very tragic, but I can't speak to the details behind it because I just don't have it. It would be a tragic outcome if it's happened. I don't have the details as to what led to it. But what is clear that the United States would not deliberately target a school.
Dude, Rubio's cooking. He's great.
They are, on the other hand, deliberately targeting civilians, as you've seen, because you know why? They are a terroristic regime. They sponsor terrorism and they participate in terrorism.
True.
What's your message to Americans who are concerned about rising energy prices given the spiking of oil prices today?
Yes, and we knew that going in would be a factor, and so we have a program in place.
We knew that going in would be a factor, which is why we took Venezuela first. We knew oil would be a problem, so therefore we took Venezuela.
That will begin to be implemented by Secretary Wright, Secretary Besant. We talked about it
last night. This is all part of the plan of capturing all the El Presidentes. We're going in order.
Last night, again, about this program. We talked this morning, and starting tomorrow, you will see us rolling out those phases to try to mitigate against that. Obviously, markets are going to be reacting to news about what's happening. And again, a reminder, think about it, okay? This terroristic regime...
Dude, it's inevitable that we needed to do this war. It's just good that we're doing it at a time where they're weaker, as opposed to a time where they can fucking kill us. Like, it's unbelievable that people are just fighting over this.
Radical clerics has the ability, potentially, to shut off 20% of global energy. That's the kind of leverage they have because of their navy.
They could shut off the Strait of Hormuz whenever they want to, and they've threatened it multiple times, which is where 20% of global energy travels through.
We're going to destroy their navy. But there is a plan in place. We anticipated this could be an issue, and Secretary Wright and Besant will begin to roll out those steps starting tomorrow to mitigate against the impact that could have. I got to do this briefing, so I got a couple more.
Do you anticipate putting boots on the ground, and how long do you anticipate the conflict to last?
Well, we don't. Let me say two things about it. Number one, the president always has the options to undertake whatever operations he decides to do as the commander-in-chief.
Yeah.
That said, we believe the objective that we have set for this mission, which is the destruction of their ballistic missile capabilities, both launch capability and manufacturing, can be achieved without ground forces. Right now, we're not postured for ground forces, but obviously the president has those options. He's never going to rule out anything.
Good. But don't rule out anything. Let them shake in fear.
Right now, our focus is on the destruction of their ballistic missile launchers, their ballistic missile stockpiles, and their ballistic missile manufacturing capability, as well as their one-way attract drones and their navy, because of the threat it poses to global shipping.
How long does that take?
Good shit.
All right, I can only do one more. Right there in the middle. Yes, sir.
Is there a diplomatic exchange going on right now between U.S.
These people are actually retarded. I'm telling you, man. Every time I hear a reporter ask a question, I have to question my sanity. Like, is the average American so fucking stupid that they listen to this and they're like, holy shit, we didn't think about diplomacy with these radical terrorists?
Any exchanges whatsoever outside?
No, not at this time. I mean, look, we always have people that reach out from inside of governments.
Bro, yeah, now obviously they want diplomacy. Now that we obliterated their fucking faces. All right, it's absolutely insufferable stuff.